24/7. 24/7. You're listening to the hottest internet station.
From beautiful Saline in southeastern Michigan.
Around the world at sunskymysteries.com.
This is the 2009 Top 10 Webcam in the World winner. This is SETV.
This message is transmitted at the request of the United States Office of Civil Defense. At 3:40 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, NORAD detected a long-range nuclear missile launch in North Korea. This missile is believed to be headed in the direction of the Los Angeles metropolitan area. It is believed that it will impact this area within the next 1.5 to 2 hours. All residents within a 400-mile radius of this area should seek a fallout shelter immediately.
Well, good evening, everybody. Bill Zam here. I trust that everybody can hear me okay. It does appear that our broadcast is going out. Yes, all of these sound levels sound absolutely perfect, which is what I like to see. So, tonight I am sadly and tragically, woefully unprepared for the show. So you're going to get to see me sip fluids from a coffee cup for an hour. What do you think so far? Actually, there are a couple of things to talk about tonight. One of them is something that's making its rounds on the internet on various websites. Not all of them are conspiracy websites. I've been getting a ton of emails about this particular document, which is called the Internment and Resettlement Operations, published in February of 2010 by the Headquarters Department of the Army. Now, before anybody gets any bright ideas that this particular thing is a super secret document and, well, you know, you guys can be arrested for that and all that kind of stuff, let me do some audio volume adjustments here on the audio server. There we go. I am still learning how to operate this equipment. Hopefully this will do the trick. Sorry. It's one of those things that you have to do when you're doing a live broadcast. Oh, there we go. That's much better. Okay. Anyways, this document, before anybody gets all nervous and hoop-de-doo and everything that they're going to get swept up by passing around secret government documents, this document is actually available at armyknowledge.online. That's us.army.mil, and the Dennis J. Reamer Training and Doctrine Digital Library. So you can get this document at either one of those places. Or, if you would like, you can go ahead and use the contact form at SalineETV.com or SunSkyMysteries.com. Contact forms are available at both websites. And I can forward you a copy of this document, which is actually available online. Now, this document was published in February of 2010. Department of the Army, Headquarters, the number is FM 3-39.40, Interment and Resettlement Operations. There are a lot of sections in this thing, as you can see when I scroll past them. And down here you have the distribution restrictions. Distribution authorized to the DoD and DoD contractors only to protect technical or operational information from automatic dissemination under the International Exchange Program or by blah, blah, blah. That, of course, is dated for September 2007. Now you can see that there are a lot of different sections in this thing. What I'm going to talk about tonight is hold on a second, let me do this. Once again, I am unprepared. I thought I had the whiteboard set up on this screen, but apparently I did not. There we go. And hold on a minute while I do something here. Do that, hit that, go like this, cancel that, and then hit that, and bring that down, and hit that, and press that a few times. What I'm going to be talking about tonight is this right here, the preface, and the principles, and I believe the status determination within this document. And we'll see how far along we can get with this before I decide that, well, I just don't feel like doing the show anymore. There are many, many categories here. General protection and care of detainees, agencies concerned with internment and resettlement. And if you go right up to the search box that I have here, and you type in the word Homeland, you will come down to the section that says agencies concerned with internment and resettlement. And one of them is the Department of Homeland Security and local U.S. embassies. Now, what does that say to me? And plus FEMA. Everybody's heard about the FEMA camps. And U.S. immigration. What does this say to me? I have some fairly distinct thoughts about this particular document in this instance. If this is purported to be for the United States mainland, for the homeland, this is supposed to be your proof positive that they are going to start rounding us up and putting us in internment camps. I'll buy that. Okay, I'll buy that for the time being. However, this document says, and I don't know if you can see it on the screen, so I will read it to you right here. This section right here says, external involvement in IR missions is a fact of life for military police organizations. Some government and government-sponsored entities may be involved in IR missions include the UN, International Committee of the Red Cross, International Organization of Migration, the U.S. local U.S. Embassy, Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and Federal Emergency Management Agency. Now, there aren't many cities or areas in the United States that have a local U.S. embassy. They might have embassies for other countries, but like Chicago, they don't have a United States embassy in Chicago. So, this has a tendency to say to me that this document more involves operations overseas, such as Gitmo. That's what this says to me, rather than something that occurs on homeland soil. However, if we go back here and go down here, we will see, there we go. Sadly, this is a PDF document, so we're observing this as a PDF document, and when I zoom in on it, I can zoom in pretty darn close on this thing. But I'd wind up having to scroll back and forth on the screen, and that's not going to do you guys any good at all. So essentially what I'm going to do is, well, you know, I apologize for whatever quality the screen is. Hopefully you can read most of this. Now, section 141. 141 is right here. This is on, what page is this? This is on page 24, 326. It says U.S. Army National Detainee Reporting Center, NDRC, supported by theater detainee reporting centers, detainee accountability, including reporting to the ICRC Central Tracing Agency. And underneath that, it says there are also numerous private relief organizations, foreign and domestic, that will likely be involved in the humanitarian aspects of IR operations. So, now we come to the part where it does seem to be talking about activities on United States soil. However, I'm going to do another search in this document, and you can do this yourself. The thing that we have to do with this type of document and release, before everybody gets all up in arms and goes willy-nilly insane, because there's no sense in going willy-nilly insane if you don't have to, is we have to be absolutely certain that this is about the United States soil and not a worldwide type of operation like what you would do in Afghanistan or Iraq or, God forbid, Iran, as well as guidelines for the Gitmo facility down in Cuba. So I am going to go ahead and continue searching for Homeland in this document. And again, I'm doing this on the fly tonight. So, and it says, Section 234, the C2 structure of IR and other military police units for stability or civil support operations is based on the mission variables. Let me see, blah, blah, battalions, military police, okay. Note, resettlement conducted as a part of civil support operations will always be conducted in support of another lead agency, FEMA, Department of Homeland Security, etc. So it appears that in any operation, civil agencies are going to have the lead on it. Let me see. DCs are kept separate from detainees and U.S. military prisoners. So they're talking about Executive Agent for Detainee Operations, Secretary of Defense, Provost Marshal. So while they are talking about, let me see here, continuing to search. Okay, now let me go back over here and do another search. There's the one I was just talking about. There's that one. And we are going to go and we are going to come up with this one right here, Appendix E. Here is Appendix E. There we go. This appendix provides background information about the various types of government and non-governmental agencies interested in IR, and its internment and resettlement operations. The interests and support activities of these agencies include ensuring that proper and humane treatment is given to individuals, that the rights of the others are protected, and that provisions for subsistence are present for individuals. They're talking about the Geneva Convention, the capturing powers, and federal agencies involved are the Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security, FEMA, and other federal agencies provide support for internment relocation operations. So if we go all the way back up here to the top and do a search for resettlement, we will see what we get from that. And let me see here. And of course it's sprinkled all the way through this. Internment and resettlement and the operational environment, agencies concerned, internment, support, blah, blah. Let's keep going in here because I want to see what exactly they're talking about by resettlement, because this could very well be, and I suspect that on the homeland, what this may be more about is, in case of a natural or what the current administration calls a man-caused event, what we call terrorism. This could be because of a terrorism event, a wide-scale, say, a nuclear attack, or a wide-scale natural disaster like a gigantic earthquake in California or the Midwest, that sort of thing. I suspect that is more the intent of this particular document. Again, I don't want to go overboard and say that this is a smoking gun that says we're going to start picking up American citizens willy-nilly off the street and relocate them. It could be. It could be used for that. It could be interpreted with that. I am still going through this thing. And we are, hold on a second here, I'm looking at something else on this that is called facility design. The Department of Defense has the responsibility for detainees. And there is another section towards the end that is called biometrics. Measurable physical and behavioral characteristics that enable the establishment and verification of an individual's identity. Biometrics include finger, face, hand, eye, voice, DNA characteristics. Biometrics are integrated into the management, protection, and control of identity information for friendly, neutral, or unknown adversary personnel. So, again, is this thing talking about U.S. citizens on U.S. soil? And Posse Comitatus, if I'm not mistaken, forbids this type of activity. Or are they talking about worldwide battlefield operations that could possibly include an invasion of the United States or a natural disaster? Again, this just simply is not, there is no gigantic smoking gun here. There's no dates in here. This was done in 2010. Okay, this thing was published 2 years ago, and before that, the date on it is 2007. So this thing has been around for quite a while. Whether or not they just decided to release it to give everybody a warning that they're going to start doing this and just completely abandon the Constitution, who knows? I am going to be reading through this. I am also going to be doing a lot of heavy investigation work and reading for our upcoming guests. We have Dr. Carol M. Swain coming up on the 15th. After that, we have Dr. Joy Pugh coming up. And then after that, we have, let me see, we have Ms. Geller coming up. I forget her first name. It has escaped me at the moment. She is also coming up. She is like Alex Bachman, both of them are very strong Christians, and they have a lot to say about the subjects that we talk about on this show. So all three of them are going to be on. So not only am I going to be surrounded by idiots 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, because they're out there. I know they are out there. But for the next month, I'm also going to be surrounded by women, which is going to be stressful anyways. Now, I also wanted to talk about the Occupy movement. Now, May 1st is come and gone. We have seen all of the May Day demonstrations, and of course, they occurred sporadically. The FBI was once again able to capture some terrorists that they created in the first place, and it apparently has fizzled out except for pockets. I mean, here in southeastern Michigan, we live in a rural farming community, and there wasn't no Occupy people here. It's going to take, you don't know how many millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people it's going to take to do this nationwide. You can't just get 5,000 people in one spot and think you're going to topple the United States. Not going to happen. And that's why we call the show Surrounded by Idiots. But anyways, if you look at the verbiage and the way they are presenting this in the news, they are presenting it as, let's say, the American version of the Arab Spring from last year. Now, I have a major bone to pick with that. In fact, a dinosaur-sized bone to pick with that verbiage. Because not only do I not agree, but I think it is idiocy to say so. Hold on. I have to stay awake as possible. Oh, a message from a flounder is coming in. All right, that is a phone call that the staff will answer. Now, this Occupy movement, they are going after businesses. The Arab Spring went after the government. This is controlled by the unions. It is possibly controlled by elements within the government in order to give us a utopian society here in the United States. If this were a true Arab Spring type revolution, they would be standing out in front of the White House and going into Congress. They are not. They are out in front of businesses. It is distinctly different. This is more of a communistic, Marxist, socialist type of movement. Everybody has to keep that in mind. It is not the American version of the Arab Spring. It is a bastardized brouhaha of garbage. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is something that, well, nobody else has had a chance to talk about because it's Friday night. Nobody's going on the air again until Monday, so I'm going to be the first one. Today's economic news. We've heard all the talking heads talk about it. The unemployment rate went down. However, hopefully it is common knowledge by now that the unemployment rate went down because so many people stopped looking for work. The universe of potential employees has dropped so much by so many people that the unemployment rate actually went down. So let's say the total universe of people is let's just call it 1 million people. If 1 million people are looking for work or have jobs, then the unemployment rate is 0. Now, if all of a sudden those 1 million people don't have jobs, then the unemployment rate is 100%. But what if, let's say, 990,000 of them decide I'm not going to look for work anymore. You take them out of the equation. So your potential universe of employees versus the people that are actually employable has all of a sudden shrunk. So you go from 100% unemployment down to a small percentage. And that's what's happened. So this 8.1% is not realistic. When you take the people that have stopped looking for work out of sheer discouragement because the economy is still so flippin' bad, it's unbelievable. If you take those people into account, the unemployment rate is well into the double digits. It has not changed at all. All they're doing is taking people out of the pool of available employees. Oh, look, the unemployment rate just went down. No, it didn't. It's all smoke and mirrors. I don't have any smoke and I don't have any mirrors, otherwise I would demonstrate it. Now, one other thing with the economy is you saw the stock market went down today. You also saw the price of a barrel of oil also drop. Now, everybody needs to understand a couple of aspects of the oil market. Here in the United States, we trade by the West Texas Intermediary crude price. Everybody says, well, you know, a barrel of oil, Bill, when it comes up out of the ground, it goes right on into the worldwide market, and then it's purchased and repurchased at worldwide prices. Sorry, wrong. I get that from the American Petroleum Institute, of which I am a media representative, and I get all of their nifty press releases, documentation, access to all of their videos, and other entertaining and educational publications that they have. So I have been researching this for a while. Now, one thing that I have noticed is that the price of crude oil is no longer sane. It's like the stock market. It's just completely and totally insane at this point. There's no reason at all for the oil prices to be up over $100. No reason. Don't give me the Iran crap and the Middle East crap and everything else. There's nothing going on over there. Is anybody shooting? No. Is anybody blockading the oil? No. Is the oil still coming up out of the ground? Yes. Are we finding more and more in the United States that we're not allowed to get to? Yes. Is Mexico pulling oil up? Yes. Is Venezuela, Brazil, everybody else pulling oil up? Yes. Is the universe of available oil shrinking? No. It's getting bigger as they discover new obtainable deposits. So there's no reason for the price of a barrel of oil to be as high as it is. None whatsoever. It is being kept artificially high. Because if you make an inexpensive energy supply more expensive, a more expensive energy alternative appears less expensive in comparison. So you keep the price of gasoline up at $4 a gallon, and pretty soon everybody's going to go out and think that, you know, I better get myself one of those stupid-ass battery hybrid cars so I can go ahead and spend a couple $1,000s every once in a while replacing all the batteries, which will completely mitigate the gas savings, by the way. You haven't thought of that, have you? Of course not, because you're listening to the mainstream people. That's why you need to wake up. Now, the crude oil drop today. It dropped from, what was it, 104 down to like $98, $97. That's a big drop. It almost seems to me, and I don't want to start any conspiracy theories, it almost seems to me that somebody was forewarned that the economic news is going to be especially bad, because they're not hiding the fact that the number of people in the available pool of people looking for work has dropped so precipitously that it has actually dropped the unemployment rate. They aren't hiding that like they usually do. They're coming right out and they're talking about it. That makes me suspicious that the price of a barrel of crude dropped so much in one day. Immediately on the heels of that, I doubt very much everybody was selling off crude. Stock market, yeah, I can see it would go down. But crude oil, no. I just don't see it. I don't buy it. So you've got this bad economic news, and the economy, of course, is on a downward slope, not on an upward slope. It's not growing. It only seems like it's growing. It is still going down, or at very most stable. So what they need to do is they need to make the economy appear better, because nothing they're doing is working. And we all know the way to set our economy on fire, and they're doing the exact opposite of that. They're following the European Depression model. And we're along for the ride because we're the idiots that voted for them. Except for me, I didn't vote for those idiots and never would have in the first place. You could tell they're idiots from a mile away. Anyways, the price of crude, I believe, was artificially dipped. Can you say George Soros? In order to lower the price of gasoline, to give the economy a quick shot in the arm so that people would seem like they're getting relief, even though they weren't and aren't. So that is what I believe is behind the price of a barrel of crude oil today. You heard it here first. I don't know if anybody else is going to put two and two together and come up with what I did, but we will see. I suspect if anybody does, it's going to be Glenn Beck, because, well, he thinks like I do. So that's about it for tonight. We are, of course, doing yet another test show in order to make sure that my mouth and my voice are synced up. And it appears, looking at the monitor here, that they are. We have also done something that we started out doing and I should have kept up with, but like an idiot, I didn't. I'm surrounded by so many idiots, you see. It's just, sometimes I slip, I'll admit it. We started out at a certain video size when we started doing the show. Unfortunately, I started getting away from it, and it cost us in the performance as the show was going out through the server. So what I have done is I've gone back to the original model so that we have less stress on the video server, so the signal is of a higher quality, and it appears that it is. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to end the show, and I'm going to go and check our recordings and make sure that they turned out, because, as I said, we have some very important guests coming up in the next few weeks, starting on the 15th with Dr. Carol M. Swain, one of the biggest, one of the best, most respected conservative voices on the planet. She's agreed to come on this show, which is totally stumps me. So, my name is Bill Zam. I'm going to throw this live stream back over to last Saturday's Alex Bachman interview, because we still have a lot of people watching that and listening to that. On the audio side that nobody's listening to, go figure, I will return also to the Alex Bachman interview. So, what I'm going to do is stop the recording right now. Oh, thank you for showing up, by the way. We appreciate it. We'll be on again all weekend, off and on, while we're testing this particular regime of technical standards that I have whipped up. So we're going to stop the recording.